Miss Ita, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. How are you?
I'm good, pretty good. How are you there?
Good. Also, thank you
Yeah,
so
that's
much.
great.
So, yeah, before we start, so I want to introduce Dr. Zamzami first. Is that
Sure,
okay? Yeah, okay.
sure.
Yeah. Okay, so Dr. Zamzami is a senior lecturer in the Department of Curriculum and Instructional Technology, Faculty of Education, University Malaya, Malaysia. He completed his PhD in Information and Technology Studies and Education at the Faculty of Education, University of Hong Kong, under the Hong Kong Scholarship. During his PhD studies at HKU, he received an award from the Faculty of Education as an Outstanding Research Award. And recently, he has been listed among 2022 world's top 2% scientists based on scientific impact in the field of education, announced by Stanford University. The primary theme of his research has been on design context-specific technology, enhanced pedagogical instruction.
This meeting is being recorded.
He published a huge number of articles in the reputable journal, and then his research has also been presented at renowned and reputable international conferences such as IEEE, IARA, and SISMT. He has also worked on a number of international e-learning projects in Hong Kong, such as gamifying sexual education, reading battle, and gamified reading assessment. So, welcome, Dr. Zamzami. You have 30 minutes, so time is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ita. So I need to share my slide, right?
Yeah, you have to share by yourself, I think.
Okay. Okay, can you see my slide now?
Yeah, so you ready?
Okay, can you hear me right?
Yeah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. I'm super excited and very thrilled here to be here at the prestigious international conference, the third Business Innovation, Sustainability and Technology International Conference 2023, organized by the Department of Management, Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Negeri Malang. So thank you very much for inviting me to be the keynote speaker for this conference. Thanks also to Ms. Ita for moderating this agenda. Yeah, a very professional moderator. By the way, I would like to invite you, Ms. Ita, to moderate our international conference in Malaysia. So we will have international conference in October in Kuala Lumpur on the topic of SDG 4, sustainability education developments. Okay, so we'd like to invite you to moderate our conference in Kuala Lumpur.
I will become as participant, not moderator, I think. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I would like to give a brief presentation around 20 to 30 minutes on my topic today. So my topic today is about equipping students for the digital revolutions, bridging education and future market readiness. So it's about how university, how the faculty should prepare for their students to be ready for the digital market or future job after graduations, because this is the responsibility of the university. Well, as mentioned by Dr. Ita, my name is Zamzami Zainuddin. You can call me Zam. I'm a senior lecturer from the Department of Curriculum and Instructional Technology, Faculty of Education, University of Malaya, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. Also, I'm the chair of the Center for the Curriculum and Instructional Technologies Development at the University of Malaya. Without further ado, I would like to start my presentations by defining the terms of digital revolutions. Okay, so talking about digital revolutions, meaning that talking about very quick, how quickly digital technologies are improving. Okay, improving, and many people today use in various sectors of human life. So talking about digital revolutions, meaning that talking of the changing of technology that very fast applied in many sectors of human life, including in business, in educations, in military, in engineering, entertainment, healthcare, in so many fields of human life. So talking about digital revolution, that meaning talking about the internet, talking about mobile devices, talking about cloud computing, talking about the Internet of Things, talking about big data analytics, talking about something that today is quite popular, AI, artificial intelligence. That's all about digital revolutions. Okay, so digital revolutions has significantly changed how people interact, how we interact, how to access informations, and how to conduct business. So the people of doing business today is changing. The people of learning, of education is always changing. And digital revolution also teach us how to survive in the digital tech era. So we need to survive in today's era. So we need to learn about technology to become a tech savvy. Okay, so talking about a digital revolution also, it gives impacts on our life. For example, on automation, everything become automatic. Yeah, everything like machine, driven by machines that can help, that can lead to a job. Some job lose today because of automations. And digital revolutions also, the impact of digital revolution also on the digital skill demands. Digital skill demand here means that like job in software development, data analysis, cybersecurity, digital marketing increase. This become a great opportunities for everyone to study or to improve their skill, even certificate, not degree in university. They improve their skill by learning more on technology skill like cybersecurity, digital marketing, about software development and others. And talking about digital revolution is also talking about gigs economy. So gigs economy today, meaning that talking about freelancing job increase today. That many platform of gigs that help everyone to work anywhere. We just require internet access or connection. People can use any platform to work as a freelancer, either as a part-time job or full-time job, working as in Gojek, for example, as a Grab driver, sell their product in Shopee, Lazada in Indonesia, Tokopedia, Bukalapak. There's all kind of gigs economy, and also not only to sell product, but also to sell our skill. So many platforms today that we can use to sell our skill, like Fiverr.com, like Upwork.com, freelancer.com. So we can share our skill. Like if we have skill in video editing, so we can share our skill in video and animations, web developments, market research, business plan. If we have skill in financial consulting, we can share that skill to any kind of platform. That's called as gigs economy. And also talking about digital economy today, meaning that talking about constant change, changing in any sector of human life, any sectors of economy. The use of technology is always changed very fast, changing. So as students, anyone need to be ready for any change in the future job market. So we need to always upgrade. Of course, we need to always upgrade our skill, and we should never stop learning. That's the key. Always upgrade, upgrade our skill, especially in technology, digital technology, by joining workshop, especially hands-on workshop, seminar, conference, but not just to get certificate, but to get knowledge, to get skill. Okay, sometimes we tend to join the workshop and conference only to get the certificate with no knowledge or skill gain. But in the future, we need to always improve and upgrade our knowledge, skill. If we don't have skill, if you don't have skill in our job, in our career in the futures, so we will be left behind. And talking about okay, this is the importance of the student. Why a student is important to prepare for future job market readiness? Because of first is because of employability. Any sectors of human life today use technology, almost every sectors of human life, and this has become the demands across various industries. Yeah, and of course adaptability for the seconds. Adaptability meaning here is that students need to be adaptable and prepared for their future life. And sometimes we don't know what happened in the future, like COVID-19, right? We never predict what happened about COVID-19 that suddenly come to us. So that's also encourage us to be digital savvy. The use of digital technology during the COVID-19 increased significantly. Those who are smart, digital savvy, tech many benefits during the COVID-19, and also filling skill gaps. Filling skill gap here that students can create their own startup, yeah, and innovative ventures contributing to economic growth and job creations. And also global connectivity is also quite important. Okay, global connectivity here meaning that students today should find a job beyond Malang. So to find a job market in for their future career, for example, it's not limited to Indonesia, must be beyond. So the job market in the future must be beyond Malang, must be beyond Central Java, beyond Indonesia, beyond Southeast Asia and Asia. People can work anywhere around the world today. And if you want to contribute to your country, you can contribute from anywhere. So this is the future marketplace that is not bounded by the place that, for example, we are living in Indonesia, that we need to work in Indonesia. We are living in Java, that we only need to work in Java. We can work anywhere around the world. That's the future life of and the future job market. And also talking about student readiness in the future, they also need to be to have entrepreneurship skill. Of course, students can create their own startup, yeah. And then lifelong learning is also important for anyone, not only for students. Agree or disagree, like or dislike, everyone must learn to survive in digital revolutions era. So we should never stop learning to upgrade our knowledge. Yeah, any knowledge, especially in technology, digital literacy area. Okay, and this is talking about society 5.0. So we are now on the top one, the super smart society. So super smart society, that meaning we are living together with AI. We are living together with robot today. Okay, that we are in super smart society that we can track from society 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0. So meaning that we will live together with robot in the future. Can you imagine that in the future or today, yeah, we apply for a job and then we get an interview. So our competitor will be robot. So robot will sit beside us and will compete with us to find a job. And it also can be the interviewer in the future will be robot to evaluate our understanding, especially about our skill, yeah, our cognitive skill. Robot can be the interviewer. Can you imagine that if we apply job or apply scholarship, the interviewer in the future will be a robot? So this is called as the society 5.0, the integration society, that we are living together Okay, we are living together with robot, with AI, yeah, AI robot. And today we are living in the AI era. Everything generated by AI. This is called as generative AI. Okay, new content, every content that we can be generated by AI, like text, music, videos, and even data analysis in research also today can be analyzed using AI. So it can be affected to human life, yeah, human professions. Okay, artificial intelligence and its impact on job. So what do you think about this? So talking about impact on of artificial intelligence on human job, definitely AI will impact on human on our life, especially on the routine and repetitive tasks. So if we have some job like a repetitive job, I mean like administrative tasks that today already changed by AI, yeah, like data entry today using AI, assembly line workers, okay, and then customer service. Okay, today many AI powered chatbot we can see on the website, right? What it can help. We can see that many chatbot appears on the website. So if we want to ask questions, so the customer service will entertain us. So we can ask any questions about anything on that website. So AI will answer that questions. So meaning that customer service today already changed by AI powered chatbot, yeah? And virtual assistants are increasingly being used in many sectors of human life to support human activities. And also transportation and delivery today, as shown by Dr. Siddhartha before, like drone, right? Drone transfer a product to any customer using drone. So transportation and delivery also affected by AI. I can show you the video. So this is the video in Japan talking about society 5.0. Okay, where AI okay, this is drone. So if we buy something, drone will send that product directly to our house. Okay, that's if you search Society 5.0 on the YouTube, that definitely will appears on your YouTube about this video, Society 5.0 in Japan. This is also the video about Amazon, how Amazon deliver product using drone. Okay, that's the video of how Amazon deliver the product using drone. So in the future, Grab probably will be changed by drones. So Gojek or Grab delivery food in the future probably will have
This meeting is being recorded.
Our home. So this is the changing of technology in our life. And then impact on human job also on retail. Okay, meaning that with the rise of e-commerce and automatic checkout system, traditional retail job such as cashier might be declined because of AI. And then financial accounting. I think that financial accounting also. Financial and accounting, because some accounting and financial tasks like bookkeeping, like tax preparation, can be automatically generated by AI in the futures. Also manufacturing, AI powered agricultural robot today can have more productive than humans. Okay, it can replace a certain job in farm labor positions. Warehouse logistic also. Okay, logistic operations with AI drivers also can change. Robotic automations. Okay, robotic automations also can have impact of job in these sectors. And then in research also, we are working as a lecturer in university. This is also impacted by AI, especially data analysis. AI today can enhance data. So many software today available, especially for qualitative analysis, that can be used to provide to generate the coding, automatic coding using AI. Like for example, you can see here like a content analysis, how AI can automatically generate text from the interview into automatically content analysis or thematic analysis. So this is how AI has a great impact, on the human, on research sectors, especially on data analysis, research and analysis. So I would like to tell you the story of Gojek. At the first time of Gojek and Grab's come to Indonesia. So agree or disagree with the innovations, everyone eventually must agree, okay, with this. So especially Gojek and Grab is quite popular in Indonesia. Do you know that the emergence of Gojek and Grab in Indonesia has brought a significant change to the transportation and motorcycle taxi service industry in Indonesia? Before Gojek and Grab arrived to Indonesia, a traditional motorcycle like Gojek, served as a common means of transportation used by people, especially in urban areas. So, but when technology platform like Gojek and Grab come to Indonesia, the traditional business like Gojek changed, and changed the way of traditional motorcycle taxi drivers made a living in several aspects. The presence of Gojek and Grab has caused many traditional motorcycle taxi to lose their job. Before, traditional motorcycle taxi had to wait for people to hail them on the street or call them Gojek. But when the digital platform Gojek and Grab come, people can order Gojek and Grab from anywhere. Okay. Also, not only that, but also product like food, GoFood, Grab food from anywhere. Because why? Because this app can provide easy, quick, as well as transparency. This is talking about the changing of technology. At that time, not all traditional Gojek agree with the presence of Gojek, online Grab and Gojek to Indonesia. But eventually, most of the traditional traditional joined this company, joined the Gojek and Grab to be part of them. You know that behind every change, thousands of new job opportunities emerge in Grab, in Grab and Gojek. Protest, especially from Bluebird at that time, they protested because the appearance of Gojek and Grab in Indonesia. But finally, what happened? Finally, they also have platform apps. So what is mean? So agree or not agree, to survive, we don't have any choice. All industries must embrace the change with technology, must embrace the innovations. Okay, this is the reasons of why technology is quite important. We agree or disagree with innovation or technology, we must agree. So this is the history of Bluebird or Gojek, Grab in Indonesia. So the question, why people use technology? Why are people convenient with innovation and technology? This already explained before by Dr. Siddhartha. Also that people use technology, especially like Gojek and Grab. Why people use apps? Because easy booking, because transparent pricing, no bargain, tawar menawar. Also safety also many options that we can choose, vehicle options. Also provide rating, feedback, rating and review. So it's called as gamified evaluations. And there is a rating and review, so we can evaluate. We can give a score. We can give a rating star on Gojek and Grab. You can give feedback. If you dislike that Grab, we can give a lower a star. So is why people convenience with innovation and technology. Also electronic payment. We can use electronic payment and shorter wait time. So we can find so many Grab and Gojek today anywhere. And talking about the Grab and Gojek in Indonesia, Gojek has contributed to the economic growth, in Indonesia, as you can see here on the percentage here. And what lesson can be learned from Nokia, as also mentioned before by Dr. Siddhartha? So what we can learn from Nokia, actually, lesson learned from Nokia, that Nokia failed to innovate. Okay, if we don't want to be like Nokia, so we need to embrace the innovation in our life. Nokia failed to keep up with rapidly evolving smartphone technology and trend, while its competitors like Apple and Samsung embraced touchscreen technology and apps ecosystem. But Nokia continued to rely on traditional feature phone, missing out on the smartphone revolutions. Okay, there's what lesson that we can learn from Nokia: a failure to innovate. Okay, and next, challenge in education regarding the revolution of educations, revolution of digital or technology. First is regarding outdated curriculum of teaching methods, and then lack of digital skill in teachers and students, that more training need to be provided in the futures to support the challenge of digital revolution in education, especially in the universities. And then inadequate infrastructure and access to technology. This is similar to digital gap as mentioned before, and the growing connect between education and industry need. And one strategy that I would like to answer the question before from the participants, that how to provide the digital gap among the society because of inequality use of the internet. I think this is the responsibility not only the governments, the university like Universitas Negeri Malang also should take a role to support the inequality of digital access to society, underprivileged society. For example, community service. When doing community service, it's not just cleaning or trash, but also need to educate society, need to educate the community, underprivileged community, on how to use the internet safely and how to access to any kind of positive website and how to start their business online. This is one of the strategy that we can do to support the digital gap among the society. So it's not only the responsibility of the government, but also the responsibility of us, okay, from the university. We need to support. We need to support training for teachers in underprivileged school community society. That's one of a small strategy that we can contribute to bridge the digital gap among the society, among the underprivileged society. Okay, what should we, what kind of skill that we need to prepare for students in the future? Of course, that we need to prepare students with digital literacy and information fluency. And then critical thinking and problem solving, creativity and innovations, collaboration and communication skill that we need to provide for students, emotional intelligence and adaptability. And talking about designing curriculum also must be matched, the matching between curriculum and industry. Okay, so I think I believe that curriculum in Indonesia with curriculum Merdeka today is so privileged. So Indonesia is so lucky with curriculum Merdeka to emphasize the connection between academic and industry. So today you all have a good connection between industry and university or academic, where people from industry can work in university as lecturer, and lecturer from university also can involve in industry. There's kind of a way of to bridge the gap between industry and university. And also we need to also provide entrepreneurial mindset, yeah, for the students. So this is my experience. My experience when I visited Universitas Negeri Malang last year, I recognized that the Faculty of Economics student engage in the entrepreneurship activities, yeah, by supporting the campus community with product like yeah, they sell the product or meals in the university, in the faculty. This is really unique and innovative idea. I think it's called as a hidden curriculum, yeah, not teaching in the class or taking course, but directly practicing marketing activities outside of class, yeah, around the university. We hope other faculties and institutions can also follow these innovative activities, because not only graduate from Faculty of Economics can be entrepreneurs in the futures, but anyone from any faculty can be a great entrepreneurs. And I believe that many lecturers also from Universitas Negeri Malang also have they have enterprise, yeah, outside of the university, because entrepreneurship encourage students to think outside of the box. They need to think with innovative idea. We also need to find a creative solution to solve the problem. They also need to be adaptability and resilience. Do you remember during the COVID-19 period, which was unpredictable and affected most profession like aviation, pilot, yeah, transportation like pilot, flight attendants lost their job, yeah, and then they turn their job into entrepreneurship activities like selling food, yeah. So this entrepreneurial skill during the time, during the COVID-19 time is so helpful. So this is why entrepreneurship skill is so much helpful for us. Not only students from Faculty of Economics, but also all students must have this skill in their life. And then building global awareness. Okay, so students should understand cultural diversity and cultural and global perspective, virtual exchange program and international collaboration that the student can do. Language is also important today, especially English. Not only English, but also other language like Mandarin, Chinese, also quite important today for job market. But most important thing is language, English. This is the challenge for Indonesian people today, because English in Indonesia is still foreign language. Yeah, it's not second language. It's quite difficult for most Indonesians to speak English, because when people can speak English, people can easily find job anywhere around the world. And also students also should prepare for the global career opportunity. Can find job anywhere around the world, okay, on JobStreet, LinkedIn. So finding job is not only in Indonesia, but anywhere around the world to find a job. If you see people work in Silicon Valley, for example, in the United States, in California, Google, in Facebook, yeah, Microsoft, you will find people from different countries, and mostly dominated by Indian, and then Chinese, and then Japan and South Korea, and a very small number of people from Southeast Asia, especially from Indonesia, work in that company. So it's quite important. It's so important for us to educate, to prepare students in the university to think globally. So finding job is not bounded by the country. Should only not work in Indonesia, but work anywhere. Okay, and another important thing is soft skill is quite important today. It's not only a hard skill, because today we live in the AI era. So we should have the skill that AI cannot imitate, like public speaking, like our empathy skill, our motivation skill, our confidence, our creativity, our communications, that cannot be imitated by copied by the AI that we should have. So we should improve also our soft skill in the future. So for teaching strategies in the universities, also the curriculum should emphasize on personalized learning, on project-based learning, real-world application, and also for immersive learning, for AI-based learning, and also continuous professional development for teachers. Assessment should be authentic assessment instead of just typing, because today like ChatGPT can write SI. So as a teachers, we also need to modify assessment into more like authentic assessment. Okay, this is also education and industry partnership, and I believe that many Indonesian universities already have this great program, yeah, connection between education and industry, and also support from the governments. And I believe that support from the government is also so important to bridge the gap between students and their future career. And what conclusion I can draw from these presentations? So we need to prepare students for the digital revolutions with any kind of curriculum that match with the job market requirements. We also need to prepare students with digital literacy skill. So we also need to work together. We need to work together with any component, with any industries, with any affiliations. Universities should work together, for example, with Microsoft, with Google, to support students' readiness for their future job. I think that's my presentation. So we can have a discussion and question after this. Thank you, Ms. Ita.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Zam. Yeah, so listening your presentation is just I'm thinking about a big homework for us as a lecturer. So yeah, the question and answer will be delivered after the next presenter. So maybe you have to wait until we finish hearing all the presentation, and we come to question and answer. And now I come to the fourth speaker. Are you with me, Dr. Alena?
Hi.
Hi, okay. How are you?
Not bad. How are you?
Good, thanks. So happy to have you here.
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for hosting me all the way from Glasgow.
Okay, so very pleasure to have you here. Okay, Dr. Alena, before you present your topic, so I will introduce you first to the participant. So allow me to introduce Dr. Alena. Dr. Alena is a senior lecturer in marketing at the University of Glasgow, United Kingdom. And then she received her MBA from Michigan State and her PhD from New Mexico State University in the United States. She has been long fascinated with consumer response to technology. And then she has been awarded several grants for collaboration with practice that built on her VR research. She also worked with tourism organizations in Scotland to develop their VR marketing, engaged with VR marketing content creators, and specialized industry group. Her work appears in many academic outlets such as Business Horizon, European Journal of Marketing, Journal of Business Research, and others. Prior to becoming an academic, she spent nearly 10 years working in the private sector in a variety of roles, including being a business owner. So welcome, Dr. Alena. You have 30 minutes to present your work, and time is yours.
Excellent. Thank you so much for such a kind introduction. I'm going to share my screen. It's magical words, right? That every presentation these days starts with saying, let me share my screen, but let me share my screen.
Yeah, we are waiting.
So, yeah, here you go. I'm going to do this and this here. Right. So,
we can see clearly.
Excellent. That's great. So
Okay.
what I wanted to discuss with all of the participants of the conference today is the use of immersive technology in marketing, which obviously I'm a senior lecturer in marketing, so of course this is my angle here. But I wanted to kind of give an overview of the various options that are available today for marketers, from the practical perspective that we can then hopefully communicate to our students and train them in the usage of those tools once they graduate and go into the industry, as well as from the theoretical perspective for us researchers and the different angles that we can study there in relation to those immersive technologies in marketing. And I hope to provide some practical examples that, again, you can take either to the classroom or maybe as an inspiration for your future research in this area. And as you mentioned, I work with a number of businesses in Scotland, helping them with their virtual reality initiatives in marketing. So hopefully I can tell some stories about that as well. So
yeah, really, we are happy to hear it, Doctor.
Yeah, lovely. So, right. So just to give an overview, because I don't know, not everybody perhaps is on the same page. Some folks might know more, some folks might know less about this. So just to give an overview about what immersive technologies are. Basically, this is kind of the umbrella term that includes a number of different forms of what is known as alternative realities. So we have the augmented reality, we have virtual reality, and what we have there is also mixed reality. And this is this big growing market that is often labeled as XR. Now, there is some debate in the literature what X stands for, whether it means extended, whether it means alternative, but either way, it's this big term discussing these immersive technologies. And it's a large market that by 2030, people believe will reach over $30 billion worldwide. So it's something that definitely is growing in popularity. And it can be used both in business to consumer settings, but also in business to business sector. I think sometimes there's this misconception that this is only for businesses that work with consumers, but I will provide some ideas later on how this can be used in B2B. So basically, it's a set of technologies that allow people to have an immersive experience beyond their regular reality, the old, boring reality that we all live in. There is this reality continuum that I think describes very well this idea of those extended realities. This is from the paper by Flavin and co-authors. It was from JBR in 2019. And I think since then, there were many other attempts to conceptualize this continuum, but I think this captures it just perfectly. It tells us that if we were to envision this continuum from the real world that we all live in to an entirely virtual world, entirely virtual environment, that means that different forms of this immersive technology fall on different parts of this continuum. For example, augmented reality, it's mainly still rooted in reality. You're still in your real world, but you see some additional virtual elements that are embedded in this real, normal physical world. But then if you go all the way to the other end of this spectrum, you reach virtual reality, where all the physical stuff around you is fully replaced with virtual environment, with the virtual world. And this is where you reached your virtual reality technology. So thinking of this as a mixture between real and virtual, I think helps to understand those technologies a bit better. So I'm going to start today talking about AR, and then I'm going to dive into virtual reality, which is where majority of my work is concentrated. But I think I would be doing you a disservice if I only talked about VR and not spent some time on AR, because it's, again, a very promising and growing area, in particular in marketing. So what is AR? Again, for those of you who are unfamiliar, it's basically the kind of technology that enriches your physical environment. It provides this virtual addition to your real physical world. And this virtual addition is synchronized with your physical environment and can react to the changes in your normal physical environment. So the picture here on the screen, I think, describes it pretty well. Here, presumably, a consumer is considering purchasing or getting this item. I don't really know what the item is. It seems like just a piece of wood, but so this is the item they're considering getting, and they can see how this would look on their sort of table here, right? So they can see it embedded in their normal environment. This is the real table, the white table in the background, but they can place this item virtually onto the table and observe how it looks like. I think a few years ago, there was this Pokemon Go craze. Even my mother-in-law, and she's an older woman, but she was obsessed with Pokemon Go. Everybody was catching Pokemon all over, the world. And Pokemon Go is an excellent example of AR, because those Pokemon were appearing on your smartphone screen. They were appearing in your normal real environment. You could see an image of your street, of your house, but there you would see also the Pokemon, right? So it was a bit of virtual embedded into this real physical world. Now, for marketers, it's an interesting thought of how you can use augmented reality and whether augmented reality or virtual reality is more beneficial. So I want to talk about what can be achieved for marketing strategy and for B2C and B2B marketing with AR. Now, if we look at virtual reality, marketers typically have much more control over the environment, right? Because everything that consumer sees, it's the virtual world, and you can design it in whichever way you want. So you control the environment fully. But AR, augmented reality, obviously shows the consumer's physical surroundings, and you have no control over how that looks like, right? So you have a bit less control there, but it is really beneficial in a sense of giving your consumers a sense for how your products will look and act in the real life environment. And this is really helpful if you are marketing products that are quite difficult to experience prior to the purchase. And if you want to provide, prior to the purchase, this more close-up and personal connection to the product. There are some features that are inherent to augmented reality. For example, one of the things that AR allows is what is called environmental embedding, which means that you can embed the product in a personally relevant context. For example, IKEA has an AR app where you can see how their couches and armchairs and tables, how they would actually fit into your own home. So that helps you to embed the product in your own environment as a consumer, and allows consumer also to control the virtual product, which is it's termed in the literature simulated physical control, which means that I can turn this table, I can turn this virtual chair, I can see how it would look from every angle. So combined, this environmental embedding and simulated physical control, literature suggests that those features are driving benefits of augmented reality. They tell us that then consumers have increased value perceptions, and it drives positive word of mouth and even purchase intentions due to those features. It's also something to keep in mind for us marketers is that use of AR can actually offer this low-cost solution for product trial. So instead of having your consumers have this trial where you provide them with a physical product, which might be costly and there's shipment costs involved as well, this allows you to have this very low-cost product trial without any shipment and pretty much instantly where consumers can test out and decide whether they are willing to purchase the product. Now, I also want to mention that in addition to those features, if you think of augmented reality, it helps you to visualize how the product looks like. And as I mentioned just moments ago, especially for products that you cannot experience in real life quite easily prior to purchase, that might be the secret sauce that convinces consumers to actually make a purchase or visit the place or whatever is that call to action that you're hoping that they will engage with. For example, there is a recent paper by Petit, Javornik, and Velasco that discusses how AR is a promising solution for various food delivery services like, Uber Eats and Deliveroo, because consumers can see in their home environment on an empty plate what the food would look like on the plate. So that would allow you to show consumers again in their environment how the final product would look like, and potentially as a result encourage the purchase of that product. Now, there is one thing that I want to really highlight when it comes to any type of immersive technology. And if there is one thing you take away from me talking today for half an hour, I hope it's this. With all of the immersive technologies, I think it's really critical to focus on deploying them in your marketing efforts strategically. Now, I can tell you that I worked with a number of organizations that they wanted to engage with immersive technologies. They thought that they would like to use perhaps augmented reality or virtual reality. However, they didn't really have a particular reason or to do so, right? Or particular plan on how this is actually going to play out. Quite often, those immersive technologies still, even though we are, quite advanced technologically, but still in business, quite often those things they end up being quite gimmicky. Companies and brands might decide to do that just because they think it's cool, they think it's fun, but they don't really have a particular plan for it. So I have seen, for example, virtual reality initiatives and solutions developed and then just shelved by the company and never to be used again, because at their development stage, the company did not really kind of approach this process in a more strategic manner. They didn't really ask themselves, what is that we're trying to achieve with this? Why are we doing this? And as a result, how should we develop it and how should we implement it? So for AR, for augmented reality, I have a very nice 6-step process here for you on the slide. This is from Business Horizons paper by Berman and Pollock, published I wanted to say just last year, but apparently it's been now 2 years. Time really flies. But basically, I think this paper lays out very nicely the principles for approaching augmented reality development strategically. It tells you that first, determine your objectives. Why is that your brand, your company is trying to use augmented reality? Now, after that, decide what would be the channels through which you would be promoting your augmented reality and who are your target audiences for that. Quite often, one of the first steps that I ask when companies reach out to me and say, hey, we would like to have a VR developed, I would ask them, who is this for? Do you know your target audience? Do you know the folks whom you are targeting with this initiative? And what do you know about them? Because otherwise, your development is doomed not to be successful. Then once you establish that, you can move on to selecting between different types of augmented reality applications, designing them, evaluating different formats. And finally, once you actually launched your augmented reality initiative and you start using it for marketing, say you developed a smartphone app, for example. And once you do that, and once you launch that augmented reality app, obviously the critical step, as all of us marketers know, whenever we implement anything, we then need to be monitoring, controlling, and measuring it. And once we assess the success, assess the impact on our target audience that this app was, intended for. Once this happens, this is the time when we can then tweak and change and adapt this tactic to ensure its success. All right. So now I am going to remind you quickly about this reality continuum. Obviously, as I said, augmented reality is there is a little bit of virtual, one virtual chair in the otherwise normal physical room that our consumers are in. Virtual reality, on the other hand, takes people entirely to the virtual space. What it means is it transports them to an entirely different place, to an entirely different time than the one that they're currently in, right? And virtual replaces real for those folks. So virtual reality, when you hear virtual reality, typically everybody right away thinks about those head-mounted displays, HMDs, head-mounted display. I have here on one side of the image for you, this is obviously formerly Facebook, now Meta Oculus Quest. And then on the other hand, you see here the simpler and cheaper head-mounted displays that are basically, they're cardboard and they can be used with a smartphone. So you take a smartphone, you put it inside this device, and you can view virtual reality 360 videos, for example, using those head-mounted displays. Now, I want to emphasize that it doesn't mean that if you don't see this big head-mounted display, then it's not virtual reality. There are other forms of virtual reality. For example, there are so-called VR caves, where there is a projection technology employed, and consumers walk into a dome or a space, a room where the virtual world is projected all around them, on the ceiling, on the floor, on the walls, immersing them in this virtual environment. Those caves can be quite sophisticated. They can employ tracking systems, so they know where a particular viewer is standing at a given time, to make sure that the perspective that the viewer sees matches their position in the environment. Or they can be simpler, where it's basically just an overall projection. If you have heard about Pied de Lumière, it's a concept that was started in France, but now it's traveled the world, where people can enter one of those caves and experience one of the famous paintings, say by Van Gogh or Dali. And you can basically step inside the art, inside, for example, Van Gogh paintings. This is an example of that, of an immersive virtual reality solution, which is a VR cave. Now, these two examples should tell you that VR solutions really differ on a million different features. There is many different ways how you can structure your VR. I'm going to give you just some examples of how they differ. So they can differ on, for example, field of view, which is the portion of the overall view of the participant where the virtual world exists. So for example, with those Oculus Quests, with the head-mounted displays, once you put them on, because they block out everything else, that means that 100% of the field of view is the virtual world. But other solutions are also possible. For example, you can have large curved screens that occupy perhaps only 180 degrees of the viewer's view, and the viewer can turn around and there won't be virtual world there. So just again, keep in mind that that still would be virtual reality, but only a portion of participants' view would be occupied. Now, movement tracking. So they also can differ in movement tracking. How well does this VR solution keep track of user movements within the application? It can differ by what is called degrees of freedom. And typically, there would be the 3 or 6 degrees of freedom. 3 means that the environment, the VR app, can track all the movements of my neck. So I can look up and down, left and right, and I can also tilt my head to the side, and my view will change accordingly. And then 6 degrees of freedom is the same, plus movements of the body in space. I can go forward, I can duck, I can go up and down, this type of stuff, right? So if the environment understands when I do that, that means that there is a certain amount of degrees of freedom, either 3 or 6 in the VR application. Interactive features. How interactive is the VR environment? Some of them are more interactive, some of them are less interactive. If you're watching a 360 VR video on YouTube, this is likely not going to be particularly interactive. But at the same time, there are obviously VR environments that are dramatically more interactive, and it's important to decide whether interactive features are something that's important for you and your brand. Last thing to mention, stereoscopic and monoscopic vision. These are very fancy words, but what they mean is stereoscopic effectively means that it's 3D. So you see the world as 3-dimensional, just like our normal human vision works in a normal world. And monoscopic means that it's 2-dimensional, right? Something that you could see on a computer screen, which is not going to be, it's not going to have this 3D volume to it. I also wanted to mention VR content. Obviously, when you're deciding what to show to your consumers in VR, you have options. You can decide to create a consumer-generated virtual environment, and that is done through 3D modeling. And that is something that would sort of resemble a video game. It will look kind of like a video game would look like. Or you can film real world footage. So a picture you can see here on the slide, this is, well, it's difficult to tell what it is, right? Because it's 360 degrees and it's made into a flat image. It's difficult to show 360 on a flat image. But this is St. Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh. It's a famous heritage site in Scotland. I don't know if you've heard, but for example, when the British, when the Queen passed, the ceremony in Scotland was actually held in St. Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh. So it's a very famous, very important heritage site, and they're trying to enter into the 21st century. And recently, they asked me and some other industry partners to help them develop the virtual reality content. So here on this image, you can see that this is a real image, right? This is not a 3D modeling. This doesn't look like a video game, and this is because this was filmed in reality. We used 360 stereoscopic cameras, and we filmed the footage in real world. So you have options, and you can choose which direction to go depending on what your brand is trying to achieve. Now, how do you incorporate narration into that? Will you have a voice explaining to consumers what's happening in VR? Will you use some controls that users can tap into? Will you use some information hotspots, perhaps, with a text that pops up and tells your viewers what they're looking at? What kind of audio will you use? You can use simple audio or spatialized audio. Spatialized audio, what it does is the sounds appear to be at different in different places within the virtual world. So if something, say there is a bird in the virtual world, if the bird is to my left, then the sound will also be coming from my left, and so on. So do you want to try and incorporate those elements? So I'm telling you about those different options, not to overwhelm you with complexity, but to show you that there are many decisions that need to be made. And obviously, to make those decisions, you need to understand what is that you're trying to achieve. And one of the keys to understanding what you're trying to achieve would be looking at what makes VR special in the first place. Why should you be trying to use virtual reality? So here, there are key elements of what makes VR special. One of them is immersion. So when users are feeling like temporarily they're entirely submerged in the environment, that is the sense of immersion. And we know in marketing that this is linked to very positive outcomes for marketers, like positive attitudes, positive purchase intentions, and so on. So we are seeking to induce this immersion, and immersion is really easy to achieve within VR because it's in itself a very immersive medium. Sense of presence, the feeling that you actually are in that place. When we pre-tested that St. Giles Cathedral virtual reality with my colleagues who are from the industry, and we ran studies to see how consumers react to that, what consumers are telling us is it feels like they were in that cathedral tower where we took them in virtual reality. They were there. It wasn't something that they watched, on a screen. They were physically there, and it felt to them that they returned to the real world when they took off their head-mounted displays. So the sense of presence, again, is linked to a number of positive marketing outcomes, and this is why marketers are seeking to pursue it. State of flow is another hallmark of VR experiences. It's a state where people are so involved in the experience that nothing else matters. They not only the outside world doesn't exist for them, they don't care about the existence of the outside world. It's this peak experience, again, linked to a number of positive marketing outcomes, and is something that virtual reality can help you induce. So these are the things that make it particularly interesting for marketers. Then we need to be thinking where those things would be most beneficial. So here is a quick reminder for those in the audience who perhaps are from other fields than marketing. But in marketing, we discuss the modern digital consumer's journey. And we say that consumers kind of travel through this series of decision-making steps that are, they're not necessarily sequential, and they're quite circular, but consumers usually start with considering their different needs and different options. They move to evaluate alternatives and trying to decide, okay, so I could go with this brand or this other product, and they evaluate them to decide which one they select. Then they buy or visit a place, if we're talking about destination and tourism marketing, hospitality marketing. Then they hopefully enjoy the product, advocate for it, so tell others, and then bond with the brand. And then the hope of us marketers, the evil marketers behind the curtain, is that will create this loyalty loop. If they really enjoyed it and they bonded with the brand, they will continue coming back for more purchases or more visits, and they will be in this loyalty loop with us. Now, when you are developing your application, remember I talked about this when I said that augmented reality needs to be used strategically. Well, similarly, with virtual reality, it's really critical to understand which of those stages are you targeting? Why are you developing this VR application? What does it do in terms of actually tapping into this consumer journey? So this is based, this is a busy chart, but I promise I can explain it so it wouldn't look so terrifying. This is something from a paper we published last year in Business Horizons. And it basically looks at those stages, right? Consideration, evaluation, buy, enjoy, advocate, bond. And it tells you for each of those stages, what can VR do for you? So for example, at consideration stage, when consumers are still trying to decide, which product to get and which products are available to them. Typically what us marketers are trying to do is we're trying to build awareness and improve consumer attitude. And VR is really good here because it can really easily attract attention. It's very attention grabbing due to its novel properties. And it can induce positive emotions in consumers. It's been linked to the feelings of fun and enjoyment. So it's helpful here at this stage. Now, evaluation stage is when consumers are trying to decide what are the characteristics of the product or of the service. And here we can help them with VR because we can reduce the perceived risk and anxiety by representing reality. For example, imagine that somebody is thinking, should I visit this place? This place is based very far away. I've been working with this tourism organization that is located in a very remote part of Scotland. Now, before somebody commits to going there, they might be thinking, goodness, is it worth the trip? It's really far away and it will take me multiple hours to get there. What if I go there and I do not like it at the end? So something that VR can do, because it can create this very realistic environment, is actually reduce this perceived risk and anxiety. At buy stage, what's important is to increase visits and sales. And here we can help by using VR to increase purchase intentions, but also VR can actually represent a shopping environment. What I want to show you folks real quick is an example that I really like of MasterCard and Swarovski partnering up in order to create a shopping environment that can be used in VR. So basically what's happening there is MasterCard partnered with Swarovski in order to create the virtual environment where consumers can enter this sort of luxury mansion, and they can then install products by Swarovski that are placed there within the environment, read the information about them, and purchase them right there and then using MasterCard app. So this is something that can be created in virtual reality to facilitate the purchases as well. Now, in terms of enjoyment, if you're targeting this stage and you're trying to improve consumer experience, one of the things you can do is use virtual reality to enhance on-site or off-site experience. This is also particularly important for tourism brands that are worried about overcrowding on site. For some time, I lived in France in Champagne region. And Champagne region is really good at employing virtual reality solutions. And one of the things they do is they actually create 360 videos and then the headset experiences that can be experienced on site. And that is done also partially to reduce crowds at the actual site. I also want to mention the advocate stage, where VR is helping to increase the positive word of mouth because consumers want to talk about the experience because it's novel and it's interesting to them. And finally, at the bond stage, VR is particularly impactful and helpful in enhancing brand storytelling because you can create any world you want and take consumers on this journey. You can use that to build your brand and tell the story that you want to tell about your brand. And then also perhaps tap into this post-purchase experience when they already purchased your product, but you're trying to remind them of some of the positive features and make it more engaging for them in that way, in the hopes that they will enter the loyalty loop there. So what I would like to conclude with is Hopefully these examples illustrate for you that VR and AR have and can be used strategically, in a sense that you need to first decide on what is that you're trying to achieve with those features before you go ahead and start developing them and implementing them. Obviously, there is much more that I can talk about in terms of the VR and VR, implications and implementation on site. But in the interest of time, one thing I will mention is that there is a book that I co-wrote with a couple of other academic friends and co-authors on virtual reality marketing that talks a little bit more about practical examples and has a lot of various interviews with industry folks who are implementing VR solutions for their brands and reap the strategic benefits from marketing perspective. So I think this is all from me, and I am going to pass it back to our host.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Alena. Okay. Just wait. Okay. So thank you very much, Dr. Alena, for giving us such informative and interesting presentation regarding the VR, futurology, and something happen in the future of marketing. And we will continue for the last presenters. So last but not least, we come to the last speaker in the conference, my colleague, Dr. Agus Hermawan. So first, allow me to introduce and welcome Dr. Agus. Dr. Yes. Agus with me now?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, he is a senior lecturer in marketing communication at Universitas Negeri Malang. He received his master's degree from La Trobe University, Victoria, Australia, and his doctoral degree from Universitas Negeri Malang. His articles are published in reputable journals such as Journal of Business and Management Review, European Journal of Business and Management, Canadian Center of Science and Education, and others. He has expertise also in small, medium enterprises. So Dr. Agus, you will have 30 minutes to talk about your topic. So the time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. Welcome to our international seminar, the third BISTIC. This is the important seminar for us because we know that the seminar is the connection about the relationship between the students, the lecturer, and academics who are interested on it. So the main topic about what my delivering is about the digital transformation in small and medium enterprises or SMEs. I want to take Indonesian case. Why I take this case as my topic seminar, because as you know that Indonesia is very big country and the number of population is very huge, and we know that if we look into the numbers of population, more than 227 millions, so this is the big market for our environment actually. There are many investors here, and there are many consumers here who are connecting with each other. They must do the collaboration, the transaction, and so on. So for the first time, I want to insist that my topic is more than the two things what I want to talking about. Yeah. The first about the theoretical framework of the small business and transformation, digital transformation, and the second, we can look the case in Indonesia. What is the situation? What is the environment of SMEs? We call in Indonesia UMKM, ya, usaha mikro, kecil, dan menengah in Indonesian language. This is, as we know that all of the world actually depend on SMEs in the term of doing the business itself. Okay, next slide please. This is the map of Indonesia. We know that the boundaries of Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia is our neighbors, and also Australia. Australia is the big continent, but if we look into the numbers of population, maybe the population in Indonesia is about 10 times if we compare with Australia. We have 277 million. So this is, as my previous saying about that this is the big numbers, the big population, the fourth in the world, I think, and surrounding with the ASEAN countries, Philippines, Cambodia, and Cambodian, Bangkok or Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and Philippines. We are actually the biggest countries in ASEAN, associate Southeast Asian countries. We have a collaboration with another countries in ASEAN in terms of course, doing business and connecting in the small world. Why I said that this is small world, because as we know that through the transformation of technology through internet, we can connecting with each other and doing the business each other. Okay, the next slide please. For the first time, I want to deliver about the characteristic of transformation digital technology actually and SMEs. We know that digitalization is converting analog information into digital. Sorry that maybe we lost the sound because there is a technical. Sorry, we repeat it again or just continue? Okay. What is it? Sorry that you can hear what I'm talking about because we have a technical problem right now have been fixed. And okay, my slightly maybe previous slide yang sebelumnya. Nah, okay. Okay, I want to repeat it again that Indonesia is the big population, the fourth level in the world. We know that we have 277 million people. It means that what I mentioned here, that we have a big population, and also the effect of the big population is the businessman in Indonesia, the consumer in Indonesia is also very big. Okay, the second slide is I want to talking about the theoretical things. some of the condition yang sebelumnya, some of transformation digital technology related with the SMEs. Because of business is very important, digitalization or transformation digital, actually if the business move from the analog or conventional business as usual to be digitalized. It means that the technology influences the business, and they do the business based on the digital. Small business enterprise, or we know that this is this term in Indonesia, we know as UMKM, usaha kecil dan menengah. Actually, if we look into the world, so 90% of business in the world actually depend on the small business. It is just not Indonesia, but the world. So just 10% or less than that depend on the big business. That's the main issues of the small medium business. And of course, because we do the business until 90%, employment is globally depend on these SMEs. Actually, this digitalization does not just add value to activities normally, but also digitalization involves the internal and external process. Why I said this topic? Because as you know that if there is no awareness about the digitalization for the MSMEs, for the organization itself as international things, so they will be fail to compete with the other businessmen. The term of digitalization actually interchangeability with the digital transformation, affecting by the ecosystem. So if we move to digitalization, actually we depend on the decision makers of the organization, whether they will take it as a policy or they just to do as business as usual. The fundamental change process of this, of course, will be impact on the using of digital technology for the company and strategic leverage for the organization, and also radically improve because the culture must be changed, and also the marketing as a tool for connection with the customer also change because of the digital technology. Next, please. What is advantage of the digital transformation actually? Because SMEs is must implemented the implementation. This is must done by the SMEs. So some of advantage, we know that some of insist what I insist is here is the first time offering SMEs opportunity to level playing field. They gain a competitiveness and as an advantage, improving efficiency and productivity, because allocated more time to core business because they just not concerned with traditionally with the traditional way, but also they must to manage the connection with the consumers, with the suppliers more accurately and more independently and more good, and this will be advantage for them. And with the digital transformation, because the huge market will be open and the consumer will be increased, the customer loyalty will be detected by the management of the business. From this occasion, we can improve our profitability and also elaborate or drive our revenue for our growth of company. And of course, for the management, this will be value proposition for them, especially because they can provide consumer innovative solution by meeting and changing the need of consumers will be smoothly, and the speed of the transaction of the business will be good. And increasing agility and flexibility, of course, because we know that the consumer here can connect it with the businessman directly. And the last one is, of course, SMEs can decrease overall expenditure, because in the long term, especially for the long time, even though the technology itself is very high finance, very risk, but also for the long term, I'm sure that SMEs will decrease their expenses for expenditure. Okay, that's the next, please. But we know that some of barriers of the business, if we look into the previous presentation, actually some of the presenters have been mentioned about this, but I just want to insist again, but some additional from me maybe can be looked in this case. The first one, lack of digital human resources. That's the main problem, because it is the matters not just we have finance, we have budget, we have supporting from government policy, but if the empowerment of the human resource or lack of human resource not supported by the company, it will be the lack of them. And also, of course, human resources is very important. The education, the training, not just about the technology, but also for the tool to connection to marketing and so on. It is very important for the company to increase the human resource. In the condition of the Indonesian themselves, we still face with the problem of this. Of course, there are many alternatives or many things that the company must decide what the technology platform will be choose. There are many things that they must be trained to the employment and themselves. So information technology platform, whether the IoT or AI and so on, is very important, because this is it will be improve the policy of the company. Financial resource, as we know that SMEs if the company is just a small business or medium business, the problem may be it is not adequate to be supported by the financial problem. In Indonesia, of course, the supporting from the bank, from the government, with the financial support is very important in the term of we discussed about. And the last is the independent digital transformation capability, because we know that independency to change, to make absorption of the technology is very important, that we must consider about that. Okay, next. The last theoretical framework of my presentation, what is the determinants of digital transformation? should be adoption by SMEs. Actually, it depends on the organization itself, the technology itself, and of course for the policy itself. Okay, we now to move to next. Now we are talking about the condition SMEs in Indonesia in terms of reaction or connecting with the transformation of technology. In my note from the Ministry of Cooperative and SMEs, so we have one of department or one ministry who are very important to support SMEs. There are more than 64 million units or UMKM or SMEs in Indonesia. So this is the huge number. And we know that approximately, unfortunately, until now, yesterday I tried to trace again the data. I just find that just 21 million or 32% of the total for 64 million SMEs digitalized technology. So they're familiar with the technology of digital. They have implementation the digital technology into the company or the business. So this is still a small number to compare with the total number of the business, SMEs business in Indonesia, unfortunately. But we are still moving to this problem, and the government, as I find, they want to all of the 64 million business will be in implementation of the technology digital until 2030. The target is 60%. Hopefully it will be grabbed. Okay, some actor, the third one is some actors or businessmen who are already mature, mostly of the SMEs is mature business. Generally, the age of the manager 40 years. So actually, because of the age of the businessman, so it impact to the familiar with the technology of business. We hope that the young people, the young generation of Indonesia will be more familiar to compare with the oldest people in the business, because 40 years generally they are doing the business of SMEs. This is very important, I think, that the contribution of gross domestic product in Indonesia, 61% from the SMEs and 90% absorbing 90% of workforce. So this is, if we compare to the international, more than the average of international percentage. If international percentage just 90%, in Indonesia 97%. So what is the issue? The issue for the internal issue in the SMEs, low professionalism, management staff. We need to train them, and we need to elaborate their education. Limited capital and lack access to banking and market. So the role of the banking to deliver, to provide them with the budget is very important. Finance problem is very important. And insufficient technology mastery. This is the the theoretically the problem, licensing, because most of them also the micro, because in Indonesia, SME is not just small but also micro. Minimum wage, this is a problem, especially at in the big city. Okay. Wait, next, please.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay. Okay, I will finish it. Okay. So, in terms of Indonesian case, I think that digitalization enable SMEs to manage finance. I hope so, because they can contact, improve, transform business operation. The number of digitalization in Indonesia will be integrated, increased by 26% in 2002, and we hope that it will be increased also for the next time. Even though still 68% have not utilized digital, the government policy, as I know, very concerned about that, and we know that Indonesia right now have built some of the center of information, especially for the Ministry of Information in Indonesia, have built some of the huge number of BTS, what we call BTS, the center for the telecommunication in every remote area of Indonesia. So it will be, I think that it will be increase our concern about the SMEs in terms of technology. And the last is we still need lack of knowledge and skill. We need to educate them. There are many institutions who are involved in this term. Okay, next. Internet users in Indonesia. This is I show to you that the market is very huge, and also the business from the outside of Indonesia right now, as Pak Zamzami mentioned before, that there are many Malaysian and Singapore actually and China who are right now involved in terms of the building of the business, because we have many youths, and every year they grow and percentage secara persentase more than 1%. Okay, next. The training is product marketing, access to capital, as I mentioned before, cash flow management, finance, that is finance problem, and digital adoption, that's the problem. But product market is very important to link the business with the consumer. Right, next. This is example, some of example. The first one, who are SMEs, have moved from the traditionally pasar santa, from the culinary community center traditional market into the technological market. So they are doing the omni market offline and also online. Next, please. And Maju is from Bank Rakyat Indonesia. Bank Rakyat Indonesia, one of the biggest bank in Indonesia, who provide startup business, link it with the SMEs to support the financial problem of the SMEs. And the last, this is my last slide, please. Oh, okay, this is another thing that we have some of payment standard in Indonesia. And the last, this is very important for us, how to make them it means the government, the SMEs, and the business partner and media partner will be connected each other. So is every year on August 29 until 31 Agustus, yeah, I don't translate them. There are summit meeting between UMKM or SMEs, media, business center. They make some conference, something like that, to build up the SMEs in Indonesia. I hope that it will be growing and growing for the business of SMEs or SMEs in Indonesia. As you know that all of the business depend on the technology, transformation of technology. Thank you. That's my presentation. Maybe there are some discussion here. Thank you. I pass to moderator.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Agus, for the presentation. So we get new deep insight regarding the role of SMEs in the global economy, also the digital transformation that challenged them. Okay, now we come to the second Q&A. And do we have a question? Okay. So there is a first question that appear in front of me. So this is for Dr. Zamzami. Dr. Zamzami, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So there is a question from Ibu Mazi regarding with your presentation. How will AI impact the future quality of education? I'm worried that students will not really learn by relying on AI.
Yes, first, I would like to say that definitely yes, AI will have a great impact, positive impact on the quality of education. Yeah, will have a promising, will be a promising tool, AI, for the future quality of education system, especially to support like personalized learning. So AI can be used to identify the weaknesses and the strength of student, and also AI can give feedback what kind of support that can be given for certain students to support their learning. AI also can be used to support students with disabilities. For example, AI can be used to transfer text into voice. So that's the advantages of AI in education. But we also need to understand that many things in the world have two sides, right? Like positive and negative side, like advantages, disadvantages, opportunities and challenges. So we are, as educators, as lecturers, as curriculum designer and instructional designer, this is our responsibility to make AI in education positive, how to use AI positively in educations. So this is our responsibility. And we also need to understand that using too much AI in education also can cause a negative impact on students. So we need to use AI and traditional instruction balance. Okay, so AI is just tool in education, so we should not use AI as the main source, 100% AI in teachings. AI is just tool to support student learning, to support teachers teaching, because something that cannot be used by AI, like emotional transfer, or something that that AI cannot replicate. The role of teachers, like the transfer of emotions. So the role of teachers in the school, in the university, is still very important, and will be never replaced by AI. So like how to improve student critical thinking skills, student creativity, student collaborative learning skills, student empathy. So that's the role of teachers in the school. Also, with AI today, this is also the challenge for today's teachers to be more creative in teaching, yeah, to be more innovative in teachings, to give something like instruction, assessment that cannot be replicated by AI. Because if just giving a traditional assessment like a writing essay for today's, it's not working, because today student can just use ChatGPT to write essay and then paraphrase and then submit. So this is the challenge for us today as educators. We need to use AI more positively, bring AI into to be more positive, and how to use like assessment to be more authentic assessment is the challenge for us. I think we can do that.
Thank you, Dr. Zamzami. Okay, because as a speaker, I think Dr. Alena also is a lecturer. Would you mind to share with us actually how you use AI in your class?
Yes, that's a great question. So we had a lot of discussion here at the University of Glasgow, about the AI tools. We settled on the idea that we need to be working with it as opposed to against it. Obviously, a logical concern is to which extent our students are relying on AI tools when working on their class assignments. So the general consensus is that as lecturers, we need to be trying to incorporate the AI tools into the assignments from the get-go and get the help of the AI tools, for example, when formulating parts of the assignment. So we can, for example, create an assignment brief, and as part of that, say, as a starting point of your work, this is what you would be, putting as a prompt into the AI tool, and this is the kind of the start of your work, and then you will be building on that, on whatever generative AI returns to you. We also need to constantly remind our students that AI tools are not wholly to be relied on. As an example, they invent non-existent references and non-existent journals that are not don't actually exist in reality. This is just a generative tool that sort of extrapolates from the data that it has. It has this content on which it's trained, and it merely extrapolates based on that. It doesn't necessarily yet create anything in principle new. It's purely an extrapolation based on the stuff that it trains on. So we try to convey this to our students. We try to warn them about the dangers of fake information that a generative AI tool might sort of spit out. And we are now building this as part of our assignment briefs to help us all to develop those AI capabilities.
Thank you, Dr. Alena. Before we continue with the next question, so I'm still always keep in my mind that Dr. Zamzami said that emotional transfer cannot be used in AI. So this is related with I think Dr. Alena talked about futurology, that like music, we cannot use because it's about taste. So maybe my question is, since the consumer experience become the key thing to win the competition, and then as mentioned also by previous presenter, do you have any opinion regarding the brand is distinguished right now, but the loyalty, customer loyalty is questionable? What do you think about this, Dr. Alena?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Yes, I had some sort of issue with my internet connection, and you froze briefly, and I missed most of it.
Yeah. As you said, as Dr. Zamzami said, that emotional transfer is not captured by the AI, and then I also learned about what is your lesson regarding with the futurology. That's right. Music, it is about taste, right? So, and then while ER has benefit of providing better sense of the product in the real life environment, you say, and then also AR allow customer to embed the product in personal relevant context. Mm-hmm. So it means customer will get the experience during the process of buying something. And then, so the key thing to win the competition is the customer experience. Is it correct?
I think it's a fair assessment. I think we are increasingly as marketers relying on this experience. And I think it kind of goes back with what Dr. Zamzami mentioned, right? The emotional part of it. So seeing the product in your physical environment can actually help create this emotional connection. We all know about the sort of this endowment effect. Once you have owned something or touched something, then you might be less inclined to party with it because you created this emotional connection with it. So I think AR works along the same lines. When you have this emotional connection, you have this more realistic, if you will, experience, and that helps you you to perhaps either be more inclined to purchase the product or generally creates closer connections between you and the brand.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. So let's back to the question from the participant. So there are two questions here, is that correct? So first is for Dr. Zam. So from the, can you read it? Can you see it, Dr. Zam? Because this is yeah. So thank you for the amazing presentation. I would ask for Dr. Zam, from the student perspective, what is your opinion about the startup industry? Indonesia has a high startup growth. We find the trend of many young people racing to get their own CEO title right now. This is new. As a young generation, which is better, should we have an MBA degree first, or have an experienced career in startup first, or is it okay for us to have a full time as a startup founder as soon as possible? So, what do you think, Dr. Zam?
Okay, this is just an options. That is not wrong or right. You can start MBA first, or you also can experience career and start out first. That's up to you. Okay, and starting a degree or a career in a startup, that's just a short-term vision, short-term activities. You need to think about long-term visions. So it's not happen instantly. So you cannot be as soon as possible. Everything need a process. So the most important thing that you need to have a long-term visions. And to me, the most important thing is to be consistent in your career, in your choice. So if you choose MBA, yeah, you also can do that. If you also can start having experience first in your career in a startup, that's also fine. The most important thing here that we need to be consistent in any activities that we do. Okay, because everything that will take times. If we learn from anyone in the world, okay, they built their company. It's not one night like Prambanan. It takes time, even 10 years, 20 years to be the CEO of the company. So we only need to follow the process, the flow of our life, and everything not happen instantly in our life. So we also need to have a long-term visions, work hard, serious in our life, consistent, persistent, determination, perseverance that we should have. We should have that in our life in order to succeed in our career. Thank you.
Thank you. I think this question is also related for Dr. Agus and Dr. Alena. So what do you think about this question actually?
Okay, if we are talking about startup, as I find on some of the case that actually we cannot learn from the successful business, but also for the fails, because the startup, as we know that there are many startups is fail to do the business. Actually, we must learn from the failure. What is the cause of the failure of them? I think business as SMEs maybe must be carefully to do the business. The new idea, the breakthrough is very important, and this is very important to make a business success. But we must know that the startup itself must be looked into the carefully. In terms of the technology itself, we know that startup may be full of the technology. We know that in the reality, business in Indonesia especially, right now it still need to be educated by the government, and also the private entity, and this is very important for us to make them to be skilled, and to become to give them the training and something like that. I am very agree that the weaknesses of this technology is actually emotion, as Pak Zamzami mentioned before. Because if we lose our humanity, even though supported by virtual or AI, of course the consumer can touch and can know the product who want to be buy, but they must be realized that they cannot communicate it as a human. So we know that for example 5.0 society want to increase the participation of human, whoever they are, to be more wise, to become a consumers, or to become producers, or to become marketers, something like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Agus. And then Dr. Anna, will you add some information regarding with the previous question?
Yes, absolutely. Well, to answer the previous question about, whether you should go for your education first or for the practical experience first, I think I agree with the prior speakers that there is no necessarily correct order of doing that. I can speak from my personal experience that I first went into the industry, and then at some point I felt that I reached the ceiling and I needed the education for the next push to the next stage. I am currently a program director for our flagship online MSc in marketing here at Glasgow, and we have a lot of students who are adult learners who first went for their career, and then eventually at some point they realize that they now need this extra push that the education can give to consolidate their practical knowledge and to give them a more sort of systematic perspective of what's happening. They have a lot of practical experience, but they want to take it to the next stage. And for that, they returned to school to get their degrees. So I think even if you start with practical experience first, you eventually will reach the point where the education will be beneficial. The one quick note I want to make here is that something that I think is often overlooked. People think of getting, say, an MBA from the perspective of purely getting the knowledge, right? But I think there's this important component of any degree that we get, and that is a social component. One of the biggest things that you can take out of getting an MBA or getting a master's degree is actually not just the stuff that happens in your assignments and in your classes. That's the connections that you form with other like-minded individuals. These are the people you meet who then will go on to be your professional contacts, your business contacts, your network. And for that, it's incredibly beneficial to be in those settings where you can freely exchange ideas and collaborate with those people. So this is additional benefit that you would get beyond just the educational value of continuous education, whether you do it right away or you return to it as an adult with practical experience.
Really agree that experience can enrich knowledge, especially in marketing, I think. Okay, so continue for the next question for Dr. Alena. So can you read it? It is really awesome hearing your presentation about VR and AR. However, all of us know that to develop this technology, business need high cost about it. In Indonesia, many tourism also want to implement but have a barrier in budgeting to develop this tech. So what do you think about these budgeting issues? Do you think in the future this technology can only be implemented by major business such as multinational company and so on? And then I will add, how about the SMEs? Okay.
Yes, it's an excellent question, and it's actually something I get asked quite a lot. So my answer to this is thinking back to what I talked about, right, and having a specific strategic goal in mind, right? The reality is that you don't need the best VR out there in order to achieve a variety of those strategic goals. Obviously, some of them would dictate certain technical features, and you would be thinking, for this target audience to achieve this goal, what is that do I need to develop? For example, if we think of VR content, I mentioned that you can have 3D modeling and you can have, it's sort of like a video game developing process that is much more costly than film in VR in real life and real world. The film in VR is actually much more budget friendly. And perhaps for your specific goals, for your specific target audience, you don't need to go for this 3D computer simulated version, and the filmed VR would satisfy those goals. To give another example, I recently completed a study that compared 3D stereoscopic VR and 2D monoscopic VR. Now, without boring you with technical details, 3D VR is more expensive to produce. It is something that it requires special equipment to capture it, and then special software to process it. Now, we wanted to see other actual differences on important marketing outcomes. And what we found is, in many ways, the 2D, the simpler and cheaper version, performs just as well than 3D, more complex version. There are some differences, and if you're going for the golden standard, you might wish to go for 3D VR because it outperforms on the sense of realism and presence. However, as far as brand attitudes and visit intentions go, they actually perform similarly, which tells us that you don't necessarily need the most expensive option out there. And it could be that for your particular markets and strategic goals, you have much lower barrier of entry, and you can tap into this technology without, spending all of your marketing budget in one go.
Dr. Zam, what do you think about this? Dr. Zam, are you with us? Oh, I think the speaker is off. So maybe we can continue. Dr. Agus, will you add some information regarding with this question?
Okay.
Sorry, the speaker is off.
Oh, sorry.
Everything.
Sorry.
So will you answer the last question?
Okay, I want to answer the last question.
Okay.
As we know that transformation of digital can improve efficiency, especially for SMEs. And with the efficiency, the question is, it is possible without increasing productivity? I don't think so. I don't think so that efficiency without increasing productivity, because as you know that efficiency is mean that you can at least reduce your financial investment on that, because this is the long-term invention or the long-term invitation. So with the efficiency of the human resource, maybe the impact of the using of the technology, I think if the market is very huge and wider market will be happened, it will be, the productivity will be increased also. So I think the efficiency will be impact on the productivity. It is not true that without efficiency cannot improve the productivity, because as you know that for the company itself, with the improved efficiency, actually they can make employee may be efficient. The resources will be better, because the knowledge, the knowledge and the skill of the employee will be increased, and automatically it will increasing the productivity. So this is maybe contradictory with the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Agus. So what do you think, Dr. Alena, about the last question?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it's an interesting point. I think that increasing productivity is becoming lately a bit of a contentious point, because I think historically, especially in a variety of so-called weird countries, the Western countries, the productivity is at the highest levels ever, which quite often results in sort of the burnouts of the workforce, and it sort of became this contentious topic these days. So I think improving efficiency without growing the productivity might be something to aim for. There was a discussion for a while in Scotland about a 4-day work week, when people would be working not 5 but 4 days instead. And there are studies now conducted actually in the UK to see whether this can work. And it's quite promising, because I think now, with the emergence of AI tools and other tools that can improve efficiency, perhaps this is not far beyond reach. Perhaps, a 4-day work week can actually work out. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm so really happy to hear it.
Just think of what we will do with the free time. Goodness.
I agree with you.
Because the employee work from home. It is true in England.
In the UK, yeah. So they conducted the pilot, and it actually worked. And what they showed is the productivity didn't change, even though people worked 4 and not 5 days. But I think it's because there are now tools that allow higher efficiency in the
Yeah, hopefully it happen in the future, near future, so we can arrange our time flexible. Okay, thank you for the finger cross. Okay. So back to Dr. Zam. Are you still with us? Oh, okay. I think Dr. Zam maybe just technically problem. So I think this is the end. Do you still have a question? No? Okay, I think this is the last. So probably, we finally come to the end of the panel session. Before I close this panel, I would like to take the conclusion from the speaker has presented today. So really happy to hear the last statement from Dr. Alena, that there is possibility that we work only 4 days in a week. But actually, we cannot avoid the changes, because we have to face it, because some changes are really benefit for society to live better. And the choice of technology previously become a problem or barrier, but when we choose the goal and try to adjust the goal, so we can choose the technology that suits with our business. So that's all about the conclusion for the discussion from about 1 until now, already almost 5 o'clock. So 4 hours, and I really thanks to all speakers for the informative and interesting presentation, and all the participants for the very active participants. Thank you very much for being wonderful participant in this seminar, and also the organizing committee for the hard work and dedication to make this conference running well. So this is the end of this seminar. Really thank you. Again, really big thank you. Hopefully to see you again real soon. Dr. Zam, Dr. Alena, and Dr. Agus, hopefully we can collaborate again in the future. And then also the participant, thanks again, a really big thanks. See you, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon all.
Good afternoon.
See you.
See you.
Thank you. So I go back to the MC. Agus. Back to you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for Ms. Ita for having moderated our fantastic discussion of the day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we have come to the most exciting moment for our participants, because because we are going to announce the winner of the best presenter. So, the best presenter for BISTIC, Business Innovation, Sustainability and Technology International Conference 2023 goes to Novita Indah Hasibuan with the paper title Developing a Business Laboratory into a Business Incubator to Enhance Entrepreneurial Creativity Among Students. So congratulations for Ms. Novita, become the winner of Best Presenter BISTIC 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, before we end our agenda, please fill the attendance form, and the link have been sent in the chat Zoom. Well, we are already at the end of our event, BISTIC 2023. We would like to thank to all of our keynote speakers, reviewers, presenters, and participants for your massive support in BISTIC 2023. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to sincerely apologize for any inconvenience you may experience during this conference. Thank you very much and see you in the next BISTIC 2024. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Udah, selesai.
Okay, thank you, Sid. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, before we continue to the second speaker, Dr. Amni, are you with me? Do you have Dr. Amni?
Yes, hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Thank you so much, Dr. Amni, I can hear you. So, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you so much, Madam Moderator.
Okay, thank you. So before we continue, first allow me to introduce our second speaker, Dr. Amni Suhailah Abrahan. She is a lecturer in Islamic finance at University Islam Sultan Sharif Ali Brunei Darussalam, UNISA. And so you can see this is the education experience also. Right now, Dr. Amni is one of the staff in the Dean Vice Dean position, I think. So correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Amni. And then she is also lecturer in Islamic finance and then have international research and published in the reputable journal. So Dr. Amni, you have 30 minutes to present your topic. And then after that, we will have a question and answer. So Dr. Amni, time is yours.
Thank you so much. Will someone be putting up my presentation? Okay, thank you so much.
Can you see it, Dr. Amni?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation today. I'd like to extend my thanks to the organizer of Universitas Malang for inviting me for today's talk, which is BISTIC 2023, Third Business Innovation, Sustainability and Technology International Conference. I'm very humbled and also honored because I would be able to speak among esteemed panels. So, ladies and gentlemen, for today, I'll be sharing or perhaps just talking about more general aspects of the topic that we have today in terms of the theme, which is flourishing creative economy and business sustainability along digital transformation strategy amidst Society 5.0. So I'll be focusing more on the business aspect and in terms of digitalization of your business and also the economy, and also in terms of making it sustainable. If you can go to the next slide, please. So as an introduction, prior to the pandemic, digital transformation largely focused on creating a two-way communication between the business and also customer to improve the customer's experience. But however, everything changed and also evolved. So digital transformation is the centerpiece of operational efficiency and also innovation across organizations. Digital marketing has also been revolutionized the way businesses get their products out to the market. So for most businesses today, it's not even an option for them to go online. With the constant technological innovation, companies have no choice but to go with the trend of offering online services to cater a larger audience. So what exactly is digital transformation? I'm sure most of the participants today are especially from the millennials and also the Gen Zs, particularly only people in the older generation would want to question this. Why do you need digital transformation for a business? Or why do you need to go and have an online account for a bank? You can just go to the bank, and deal with the personnel there. But digital transformation is very important in this particular era, especially after COVID-19. So digital transformation is the process of using digital technologies to transform traditional non-digital business processes and services to meet with the evolving market demands and also customer expectations. So this means that, in simple terms, as technology evolves, so should your business. So why do you need to go digital? So as an entrepreneur, it's easy to build a community online because the marketing strategies are low cost. So you can just go to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter with just a few of the marketing strategies you can use online, to reach popularity. So if something is not Googleable these days, you cannot Google it online, so it simply does not exist. So the same goes for your business. If people can't find you online, how are they supposed to learn more about your products and also your services? So it's very important for any particular business in this modern era, in this technological era, to actually understand the important system of measurement, your likes, your clicks, your views or responses of your products. So this way, you will be able to connect with the client better and also faster, providing more information and also testimonials in a more effective manner. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, next one. Yeah, okay, one more. Okay, so other reasons why you would want to have digital tracking would be: number one is increased presence for businesses. Second, better data collection, adaptive customer experience, automated tasks, and also increased profits. So what does it mean by increased presence? I'm sure most of you know, for businesses to succeed, you need to have enough exposure and also engagement for people to actually use your products and services. And this engagement should be available anytime on an online audience is looking for it, whether they are looking for you in terms of your products or even your services. So even in today's generation, you would know, the millennials, Gen Zs, even for myself, my generation, we do our research online before we actually buy something or we want to use a particular form of product or a particular service. Even as simple as choosing the restaurant that you want to go to dinner to, for example. So you would search on Google or on Instagram to Google for the reviews, to see the menus, the ambience, the reviews, and also how far the location is from your house. So companies or businesses must therefore stay connected with your customers to stay relevant. So having a digital presence allows you to actually communicate with your customers online and also will enable you to tap into a bigger audience that will help get your product and also services out there. Secondly is the better data collection. So what does it mean by better data collection? For businesses, the digital tools will make your life easier. Okay, so they can actually collect relevant customer data, and also you can actually have access to digital platforms with analytics, as well as reporting tools that can give the information you need regarding who looks at your business, how long are they looking at a certain product or a certain service, what color do they like, for example, a product in, and for whatever reason. So everything, or all this data collection, you can actually get it when you have that digital transformation. The third one would be adaptive customer experience, mentioned there. So before this, the only important things for a customer is whether the product, how does the product or service look like, or is it a good service, or is that product good? How does this product impact your life, for example? How much is the price, or whether it's really functional or not. But since they're now discovering and also communicating with brands online, they're looking for something more personal. Okay, so people nowadays, customers nowadays, they don't just look through the catalog, but they would want something which is more personal, something which is more unique. So this adaptive customer experience is also very important, and you can actually get that when you go for digital transformation. The fourth one would be automated tasks. So some examples would be you would be able to send newsletters on specific dates instead of sending emails one by one manually. Other examples would also include adding new subscribers to your email list when they buy products from your online store. Last but not least, of course, which is very important for any particular business, would be increased profits. So increased profits, companies that use digital tools, they would improve the overall efficiency, productivity, and also profitability. So when a company actually focuses on digital transformation, they will be investing in talents and also new generation technologies to make their business processes more effective and also cost efficient. Next, please. So how do you enable this digital transformation? So there's no doubt that adopting digital transformation for business is a step forward towards innovation and also better consumer knowledge. So while most companies are encouraged and also pressured to tap into the digital world, it is still essential to assess if going digital will help solve and improve your business needs. So it would very much be beneficial for you to look into your business first before you actually decide whether you want to go digital in a small scale or in a bigger scale. So it depends on the kind of business that you are in. Next, please. So what we're talking today is about Society 5.0. The theme is amidst the strategy of this particular society. So I'm sure Dr. Siddhartha have mentioned that, and we have heard so many good things from his presentation just on Society 5.0. I'll just reiterate a bit on the Society 5.0, which is a human-centered society that balances economic advancement with the resolution of social problems by a system that highly integrates cyberspace and physical space. So this Society 5.0 actually follows the hunting society, the previous Society 1.0, the agricultural society, Society 2.0, and also the industrial society, Society 3.0, and of course the information society, Society 4.0, where most of the innovations and also technologies are being used in the Society 5.0 to actually address concerns in a sustainable manner. So next, please. So these are some of the drivers of Society 5.0 from DINANA 2020. He mentions that there are 4 drivers of Society 5.0. Number 1 is the age of urbanization. This is where emerging markets are going through simultaneous industrial and also urban revolutions that have shifted the center of world economy, east and south, at a speed that we have never witnessed before. The second one that DINANA mentioned was greater global connections, trade, people, finance, and data. So this is the world, this is when the world is becoming much more connected. It's like, even though I'm in Brunei and also you guys are in Indonesia, and then Dr. Siddhartha is in Singapore, and then Dr. Zamzami is in Malaysia, for example, we are very much interconnected in a sense, even though it's virtually, not physically. So it's much more connected through movements in capital, in people, and also in information. So Asia now is becoming the world's largest trading region. The third one, as the drivers of Society 5.0, is the accelerating technological change. So the scope, the scale, and also the economic impact of technology have been really expanding rapidly. So the pervasiveness of technology in our lives now is unparalleled, and the speed by which these new technologies are developed has actually increased. Last but not least is the aging population. This is what Japan was experiencing, and also other parts of the country. For example, Russia is also experiencing the same thing. The human population is getting older. Fertility is falling, and the world's population is actually also growing dramatically. So these are the 4 drivers of Society 5.0, as mentioned by Dinana 2020. Next, please. So because of that, the drivers of the society that I have mentioned, of the 4 drivers of society, these 4 disruptive forces have not only influenced the development of Society 5.0, but they are also paving the way for the emergence of new types of economies within it. So in the coming years, emerging digital experience sharing, we also have gig, circular, and also purpose economies will all dominate how businesses will create value. So the economies are expected to have a very profound effect on the generation and distribution of wealth and also power. So the intersection of which are at the core of the concept of political economy. So as the future economies evolve, societies, governments, enterprises, they will all find themselves in new roles when it comes to the use or control of wealth and also power. Next, please. So this is the first economy that we're going to share and talk about. So this digital economy, it acts as the enabler and also influence of the rest of economies in one or more ways. It is changing the worldview on value creation. It will not only transform the way we convert our resources into economic value-added outcomes, but it will redefine our views on how to utilize available resources to address existing economic and social challenges. So it is changing the worldview on value creation. It will not only transform the way we convert our resources into economic value-added incomes, but it will also redefine our views on how to utilize these sources. So the final product of this are the many sectors such as e-health, e-government, precision agriculture, smart cities, and also smart mobility. So because of that also, next please. So because of that also, it offers new business opportunities, employment, and also entrepreneurship. Also at the same time, enhances the provision of public services, such as health and education, and also will be improving interactions between citizens and also the governments by facilitating more communication or social inclusion. We're talking about social inclusion just now from the video that Dr. Siddhartha showed us, more social inclusion, not just in terms of gender, but also the differently abled. So it will give a more inclusive society, a more affordable one, and also accessible to support the achievement of social and also economic development goals. Next, please. So another economy that we would like to touch is on the experience economy. So this fundamentally change how companies go to the market, influence their buyers, and also engage people throughout the customer journey. So brands have actually realized, that experience is something which is important. It's no longer customers' loyalty and also dollars for the products, but also how they are actually experiencing buying or taking a particular service. So brands consider many touch points in crafting a customer's experience. Its product, service, employees, and market messaging across multiple channels are continually cultivated over the duration of the customer-brand relationship. A very recent experience economy perhaps would be like Disneyland. Okay, they give you the experience of not as a customer, but what they call you when you go into Disneyland is that they would call you as guests. So you have this sense of belongingness in a sense. Okay, so another experience economy would be, for example, pop-ups, for example, yeah, or the Barbie movie that is currently trending, for example. So you will go to cinemas, for example, the branding of the trademark of Mattel is very, very huge and also very, very impactful. You would see, the Barbie boxes there and also the vehicle there. So you would have that experience. So this is really gaining the trend right now. Next, please. Another one is the sharing economy. So this sharing economy, it has been booming even before COVID. If you know, we were really high on Airbnb, Uber, and I know that in Indonesia you have Gojek. So, and also Spotify, we use those kind of things for media and also entertainment. So this sharing economy is a new wave or peer-to-peer. Access-driven companies, and the sharing company has allowed individual groups to actually share, underused assets. So there's trust, there's convenience, and also a sense of community and also belongingness as well. So they're more into sharing, okay? And you can actually share for corporate opportunities. Rather than corporate opportunities, you can actually share or borrow something. For example, a house, or rent homes, or use someone's skills for a limited period of time. So it is increasingly important also for traditional businesses to recognize both opportunities and disruptive risks that they are confronted in order to remain effective in the sharing economy. So most of the economies that I've mentioned, each bit of this economy actually exists. So for a particular business, okay, any form of business that you are in, I'm sure most of the students who are taking management or also business have their own business aside during your education years. So whatever business that you are in right now, you would need to know what are your strengths, okay, what are your pros and cons. And with technology, you need to pursue that in knowing where do you stand in the economy, okay? Next, please. Another one is the gig economy that we'll like to share. So the gig economy is the skill sharing economy. It's quite similar like the sharing economy, but it's much more freelance economy. So the gig economy refers to use of digital platforms by independent freelancers to connect with individuals or businesses for short-term services. This was actually booming post-COVID-19, initially during COVID-19, but really booming after COVID-19. So freelancers are increasingly offering their services to gig platforms, partly because evolving social attitudes about peer-to-peer sharing personal items are now being accepted. So they are sharing underutilized assets of profit. So for the gig economy, it's more accepted also because there's more flexibility in the work-life balance, and also the rising of the cost of living standards have actually pushed those from the low to the middle income to take part in more part-time incomes through the gig work. Next, please. Okay, this one is the circular economy. This is the last two, I think. So the circular economy is a new way of looking at relationships between markets, customers, and also natural resources. So circular economy is more responsible in a sense because it focuses on the 3 R's, which are repair, reuse, and also recycle. So today we need an economic model that actually reflects the new generation's social values and benefits, which is the planet, the one that reduces the waste, sorry. It also focuses on repairing things instead of throwing them away, and designs and built products are more reliable, more durable. They actually withstand longer, and also, of course, using less packaging. So it's more about the environment. Next, please. If I may give you an example of the circular economy, for example, there's a certain brand that actually uses plastic bottles to actually manufacture their raincoats and also their clothing. So in a sense, they are recycling, also reusing the materials that they are recycling. So the purpose economy it finds its root in social entrepreneurship. So for this trend, there are social entrepreneurs that demonstrates that you can actually benefit at the same time, take profit when you are doing something which is charitable or profit-making. You get a social benefit, profit-making while having the social benefit. So it goes hand in hand. So tapping into a rising consciousness among customers, employees, and other stakeholders, many organizations and businesses are stepping up to enable innovation to tackle societal and also economic challenges while promoting business growth. So for consumers, the purpose, we have, well, for myself as well, we have this tendency to actually buy something that you believe in. Or it's not just in terms of products and services, it has also become a trend that one would like to work in something that he or she believed in. Okay, so you would want to be paid for something that you like and also support. So this is the purpose economy. If I may suggest for the purpose economy, for example, Tom's, which is a footwear, a brand, it's really worldwide. So they have this particular concept that once you buy one, the second pair would be given to those who are underprivileged. So that would be more of a purpose economy. Okay, and also there's I think an Islamic crowdfunding platform. It's based in Singapore, which is Agus. Okay, it's very much well known for Islamic crowdfunding, which is Sharia compliant. So what they do is you can invest with them, and most of the investments will actually go to, for example, building water wells for those in the remote areas, or something of building the low-cost houses for those in a particular country. So these are at the same time, they're getting momentum because they're also profiting in terms of being the agent for investment opportunities, but Sharia compliant. Next, please. Okay, so aside from the fact that we talked about business, we talked about economy, and we talked about digitalization in a manner, of course, when we talk about Society 5.0, it's about sustainability. So sustainability is a very important component when we are mentioning about business, when we're talking about digital. How are you going to sustain as a business in the technological era? So sustainability, sustainable innovation is considered a very fundamental concept. So sustainability is a key concept for the innovation processes presented by Society 5.0 due to its deep relevance in economic, social, and also environmental dimensions. So it's very important here that when we talk about sustainability, not just in terms of sustainable development goals that we were talking about, but there are three key aspects of sustainability here. Firstly is economic, second, environmental, and three is the social aspect. So in terms of economic, it's about something just related to profit with problems of economic growth, the efficient use of resources, and also the financial viability of commercial enterprises. In terms of environment, it focuses on the fight against pollution, the efficiency and appropriate use of natural resources, and in social context as well, is referring to issues such as opportunities, justice in the distribution of wealth, ethical behavior, equity, and also impartiality. So in this way, it actually seeks to achieve a more competitive economy, which generates sustainable economic growth with more and also better jobs and social cohesion. So also at the same time, this will also lead to sustainable and also inclusive growth. Next, please. So what is the way forward? So one of the things that we do is when you are a business in the digital era, for you to maintain sustainability, the things that you need to address first is those with the ministries and also agencies. Okay, so we need something to formulate the idea that expanding the system of the Internet of Things to everything, the Internet of everything. So this would only be possible if you are able to do that. Secondly is to develop laws to implement new economic models. This was what was also been done by Japan, I think. So they promoted the expansion of the World Trade Organization rules beyond goods and also services, which they later encompass and also included trade in data. And then the need for serious commitment to research and development. R&D is very important because when we're talking about innovation, of course, we're talking about research and development. Okay. The educational reform and also talent, very, very important as well. So information technology literacy and also a greater number of individuals with specializations are needed, especially in advanced digital skills, very, very crucial to remove the wall of human resources. So this should also include the promoting of women's participation and also providing more inclusivity for those which are differently abled. Last but not least would be the social acceptance. We need to break down the wall of social acceptance. We need to educate the public, address privacy concerns, and also continue to examine ethical, legal, and also social implications for all the stakeholders. So this also covers everything from the relationship between humans and also machines, AIs, and robots, to philosophical issues such as the definition of individual happiness and also things like humanity. Next, please. So the conclusion for this presentation is, number one, when we talk about Society 5.0, taking in the innovations and also the technological advancement from Society 4.0, it gives the empowerment of men, okay, the mind and also the conscience of men, taking in more role in decision-making towards a better society. This is very much also reflected when we talk about it from the religious aspect of the Sharia, because from the Quran, from the Quran itself, the role of men is very important as a viceroy on earth in order to ensure that the resources on earth is equitably distributed among those on earth. So this is very much something which have already been propagated, and to see that it coming up in the concept and also foundation of Society 5.0 very much also supports the idea of men being central to every decision making. Secondly is, you need to know the role in your economy. So for example, if you are a particular business very much in the gig economy, you would need to know your strength. You will need to know what is the current appetite of your customers. So what kind of technology are you going to put intact in order to gain those customers and to gain momentum of sustainability? So this sustainability, again, it takes in the factor of profit in terms of economy, in terms of the environment, and last but not least would be the social aspect. Bear in mind, those are the sustainability, which is very wholesome. So businesses need to keep pace and also be creative. Again, talent is very important. You need to keep pace with all the technological advancement, of course, and also all the latest news on the economic sector. So I think that sums up my presentation for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. All right, thank you, Dr. Amni, for the presentation. So we get more deep insight regarding technology and marketing, and also online marketing applied. All right, now we move to the first question and answer session. And again, please use your raise hand feature. Then please unmute your microphone and camera. Or you can write in the chat box, and I will be going to read it. Do you already have the question? While we're waiting the question of speaker. Okay, so first for Dr. Siddhartha. As we know that manufacturing industry has huge contribution in the early era and currently changed dramatically. So what is a feature of manufacturing that will be faced by the entrepreneur, especially for the SMEs? And then how they have to face and anticipate the change with their limited resources? So, yeah.
That's a very good question. Also from the previous speakers' learnings, like about everything should be equitable in the world. So that's where like SMEs become very, very important, and small entrepreneurs. Now, the way I see about manufacturing is that manufacturing and technology will come together. And the day manufacturing and technology, they come together and there are all the operational efficiencies that have been fully realized, SMEs can definitely survive within their local area. What happens with big manufacturing companies is that they are so diverse that they at times have a lot of overburden or auxiliary expenses. And for those auxiliary expenses, they employ a lot of McKinsey consultants who in turn make a lot of money just to give them small suggestions. And then they reduce those overburden expenses. But for a small and medium-sized entrepreneur, if they find a niche area, let's say even a small thing, and I've known entrepreneurs who have manufactured shoes, or coming back from the previous speaker again about like plastic bottles being used for raincoats. Now, let's say there's an entrepreneur in Malang or Jakarta, and they collect all the plastic bottles and they follow the best practices of making raincoats. Now, I've seen like those that go around, raincoats are very, very important locally. And then those are the kind of small things, small innovative ideas which SMEs can incorporate, and they can stand up against the big manufacturing companies and make a niche for themselves. And these niches can be in a variety of stream. As we looked into my presentation, that manufacturing is a age-old industry altogether. Like right from the prehistoric time, there were manufacturing going on. Somebody will collect wood and refine a little wood. That's actually manufacturing for the whole village, and it has been going on. So coming from that particular background, if somebody finds a particular niche, links it up with all the operational efficiencies locally, and then come up with something, I think they can definitely survive. And then from what I know in the Silicon Valley, what's going on is manufacturing and technology is being combined in a big way. So just like the way 3D printing is coming up, technology manufacturing is coming up. What it means is whichever room you are sitting in and whatever you see around you, let's say furniture, carpets, rugs, all that can be manufactured in a ways with like bots and technology coming up and things like that. So there are like startups in the Silicon Valley where people have blindly given away checks of investing money, and they know that the next generation of manufacturing is going to be very, very different.
So what I can understand that as an entrepreneur, they have to be innovative and creative at the time. Whatever happens, so they have to.
Yeah, and also sure, and also I wanted to mention and find a niche area.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. And then come to Dr. Amni. Sorry, I will check first. Do we have a question from the participant? Not yet, I think. Okay, so for Dr. Amni. So, and in digital transformation in marketing is always interesting. And then sometimes a more personal become very important, as you said in the earlier. And then also what I know that, as you mentioned in your presentation, that brand consider many touch points in crafting a customer experience. Do you think in the future, when all fields are inclusive or more inclusive society, do you think brand is still as important, right? Do we consider brand, how to manage brand, or because we can choose anything. We can the technology make the consumer easier to get more information regarding with the product, I think.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. That's true. There would be more options for customers to actually move from one particular brand to another because it's going to be easier. But I do think that branding would be something which is still very important because, you know, in terms of branding, there's a value, there's a market value with brands. So, of course, you know, customers would move from one particular, for example, if I may say Grab, okay, and also Gojek, for example, just for the sake of example, you know, we can actually move from one app to another because we have it in the palm of our hands. Okay, so let's say that you want to go from one particular destination to another. So you would want to go into Grab, and then you would like to seek, okay, how much would this destination cost if I were to use Grab? So you would know, for example, let's say it's $20. Okay, so but you would want to go into Gojek and then say, okay, how much would Gojek charge me this for this particular destination? So you as a consumer or a customer would like to choose something which is suitable for your own cost and for your own individual personality and also for your own momentum, correct? So brand would still be there, but in terms of brand loyalty, I'm sure that would be in a lesser level. I don't know if Dr. Siddhartha agrees with me, Doctor.
Definitely. I can't hear you, Dr. Ita.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to add, Dr. Siddhartha, regarding what Dr. Amni explanation?
Yeah, I actually loved her presentation because this is is what I do for a living day in and day out. And that's the reason I didn't cover this in my presentation, because coming from a Google guy, digital marketing, it's like very, very obvious. What I feel is that brands in general, they are their own entity these days, and they are their own brain. For example, each brand will have such a strong brain, which we call as the intelligent brain, that it can serve a customer in a very, very customized way. And there are very small things which we don't even look at. For example, your frequently visited destinations in a Grab or Gojek. The moment you open the app, it really asks you, you want to go here, you want to go here, and it'll automatically put the time also and observe you, that this time you go to the university, or this time you go to the supermarket, or this time you go to play badminton or stuff like that. So all those things are bringing a mammoth change. I think now going ahead, when it comes to digital marketing, are like some ethics question on AI being used in brands, which are like really on the sensitive side. And then ultimately it's for the consumer good, actually. So who benefits? The consumer benefits. Let's say you have like three, at least when I go to the office, I have three apps. One is Tada, which is a local Singapore app. One is Gojek and one is Grab. And I compare the prices on all three, and even if one is 70 cents lower, I'll go for that one. So ultimately, the consumer is benefiting from them. But also when it comes to the gig and circular economy, as Dr. Umi mentioned, it is benefiting a lot of people. And then coming back to the video I showed on the disabled people or deaf people being able to make a mark in their life, there are many, many initiatives from a lot of these companies which are super apps or totally on the digital platform, where they give employment to these people. You will definitely encounter one or the other, at least in Singapore, where one of the drivers is deaf, and it'll say that we are deaf, but we can drive a car and we can earn a living. And that is where the benefits are reaping to the society, which is the positive point. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Siddhartha. And I was so curious. You still think about Gojek or Grab? Gojek or Grab? So this is come to your mind. Okay. What my note is, so brand is still we needed a brand to distinguish between among the competitor, but about brand loyalty in the future, that is questionable. Is it correct, Dr. Amni?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So come to the next question. I think, do you have question? Because I cannot see it in the screen.
I can see a question on the chat. I can read it out actually.
Oh yeah.
Question for Miss Amni Suhail. It was mentioned earlier that the digital economy has a lot of benefits in supporting progress, such as e-health, smart manufacturing, smart mobility, etc. However, this is inseparable from the needs of every human resource that is required to be qualified. What kind of investment is suitable to be promoted in an effort to improve digital skills? If it is related to social inequality, where not everyone is able to access the digital era.
That's a very, very difficult question. Okay, so it's inseparable from the needs of every human resource that is required to be qualified. What kind of investment is suitable to be promoted in an effort to improve digital skills if it is related to social inequality, where not everyone is able to access the digital era? Okay. Dr. Siddhartha, you want to help me with this one?
Yeah, so I mean, this is also called the Great Digital Divide.
Right.
And I'll start off by saying something, that things have changed a lot. I mean, if anyone in this room has recently visited America and tried to connect to Wi-Fi from their hotel,
Yeah.
compared to connecting Wi-Fi from Jakarta or Brunei or Singapore or any other Asian country, the connectivity in Asia is much, much more. And I'll give a philosophical example, which is totally true, but I won't give the identity of the person. I was recently in a seminar which was for students on building careers. And one of the speakers, he came up and said that I'm so happy to be in this particular institute because I've never entered a university. And everybody was very surprised that why is he saying this? And he mentioned that he used to be a sheep farmer in New Zealand. And when, as a sheep farmer, he used to lose many sheep, or some sheep wouldn't return in the evening. So he studied the GPS technology and tied the GPS monitor on each sheep's leg. Then finally, he did his own understanding of building a small app, and that app became so popular that other people started buying it from him, and that got him a job in a tech industry as a leading engineering manager with no formal education. And if you ever look at the job postings of Google, it clearly says either you are qualified slash equivalent work experience. And I know many people who come with equivalent work experience as this person who was a ship foreman in New Zealand, compared to like big degrees and stuff. So I think learning these days has become very different. You can learn a lot, but having access to a formal university is definitely helpful, because the wisdom that comes to you from your educators or the resources you have in terms of internet and technology. The great technology divide, like let's say Africa may have more poor connectivity and stuff. There are also big bodies working on making the world equitable. And I'm quoting the previous presentation, like that was so nice to hear, that making the world very equitable and equal to everybody. I think overall technology is changing a lot of things. And I have one more example. When I used to be in the people operations, which is like learning and development of Google, one of the applicants, so there we used to hire software engineers from across the world, irrespective of race, color, or nationality or anything. And I noticed that two girls, one from Bangladesh and one from Somalia, they cleared the engineering test online. So my only concern was, I hope they didn't cheat. And then the rest of the interviews that we put for them were just to test that it's them who cleared the test. But it was such a pleasure to know that sitting in these places, they had got access to a laptop, gained the knowledge, and cleared our engineering exam. And they're formally, and we offered them formal employment, and they're formally employed. So there are openings that avenues and openings that come up because of technology or because of the digital revolution that wouldn't come in the previous days. So in terms of a formal qualification, I think this is coming from a student. Yes, it's very important to get a formal qualification that helps you, but you can also make use of the university and do a lot of things. I know undergraduate students who write research papers and get them published in Scopus papers, which is such a big thing, because these days they have access to everything. So age doesn't matter, where you are located doesn't matter. So if you have access to things, go ahead and just do it. I can't hear. Dr. Umi, are you able to hear?
No, doctor.
Okay,
Yeah.
Dr. Sid, there are another question, I think. Can you see it?
Yeah, that's one for Dr. Sid. Maybe I should read this for you, Dr. Siddhartha.
Yeah.
So you mentioned in your slide that digital technology will lead to M&A growth without integration. Is there any real case, maybe from Google, related with this issue?
Now, most of the technology companies, they definitely believe a lot in M&A. And what it also means is that you save on a lot of the resource yourself. If somebody is working on a particular area which you're already dominating and you're already in there, you definitely would like to buy something rather than build it from a scratch and then take it forward. So there are various cases in the tech industry where all this has happened. The famous is the Waze. I don't know if anybody drives in this room. If you drive, you use Waze, you cannot escape it. And Waze was a company that Google brought and didn't develop it themselves. And likewise, there are so many such examples where actually companies brought other things. The other thing, and let me ask this as a quiz, who owns Nokia? Any answers?
It's already less popular right now, I think. Is there any reply?
Okay, so Microsoft bought Nokia.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the price at which Microsoft brought Nokia, I don't remember the price, was way less. They had physical factories, And the price at the same time, Microsoft bought WhatsApp, did a merger and acquisition of WhatsApp. But the price of WhatsApp during those time, I don't remember, it was probably 27 billion or something. And WhatsApp was nothing but a software. So people were comparing that times have changed. Let's say there's Nokia with physical factories which make telephones and portable devices. And there's a particular software, which is WhatsApp. Microsoft bought both the companies, but WhatsApp is valued way more than Nokia. So that's another very famous M&A case from the history.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Siddhartha. And then Dr. Amni, would you want to add?
No, thank you, Dr. Dr. Siddhartha has actually answered that perfectly.
Okay, thank you so much. So we already have like 30 minutes for the this QA session. So again, Dr. Siddhartha and Dr. Amni, thank you for attending and joining us in this seminar.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for the wonderful opportunity. Hopefully that we can continue my collaboration in the next time. So if you want to leave the seminar after this, it will be fine. If you want to stay, we will be happy. Thank you so much for Dr. Amni and Dr. Siddhartha.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much, Dr. Siddhartha.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye.